Hi, everyone. Welcome to Recovering Wholeness Together with Lynn and Andrea. I'm Lynn Galliano, and I am a wife, a mother, a grandmother. I am a BCBA, board certified behavior analyst. That's my day job. I'm a recovery coach and a Reiki master practitioner, Sui Holy Fire. And I am in she, her pronouns, and I'm in the Bay Miwok territory, unceded territory, San Francisco East Bay area. And let's see, I am in recovery from alcohol use disorder, anxiety, trauma, grief, lack mentality, all kinds of things. And I am a designated She Recovers coach. And as is Andrea. And so I wanted to welcome you all. This is kind of a special episode because it marks not only the turn of the year for solstice, we are doing this at summer solstice, but it's also a year that Andrea and I have been officially recording Recovering Wholeness Together. And so I just want to thank all of you who have been following us and welcome all of the new people and just let you know that while we're going to take next month off to take a break, when we come back in the fall, we are going to open it up to beyond Reiki. We are going to be talking about just all kinds of like energetic tools for recovery and have like lots of different topics and just kind of broaden our spectrum a little bit. So we're looking forward to that. And with that, Andrea, over to you.
Thank you, Lynn. Hey, everyone. My name's Andrea. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Philadelphia, which is a traditional land of the Lenape people. I'm in recovery from alcohol, anxiety, disordered eating, fibromyalgia, loss, grief, lots of other things too. I am a licensed professional counselor. That's my day job. I'm licensed in PA in New Jersey and a certified professional coach. She Recovers designated coach, a Reiki master, an artist, a mom to two adult boys who are going to be both out of the nest in the fall. So that's a big transition for me too. Yes, and I'm really excited about the fact that we've been doing this for a year, and that we're going to be looking at a more um, expansive version of recovery and Reiki and what that healing process looks like. And I'm so thrilled to have Tanya D with us today. I had the pleasure of meeting Tanya at a She Recovers event. We made that connection. And then my mom, who is a huge fan of me and Tanya, and Lynn especially, she's a huge fan of you too. She said, we have to go to that retreat. And we had such an amazing time at your retreat, Tanya. It really was so special, the fact that I got to do that with my mom. And that I got to do that with you and really get to know you. So, I'm going to introduce you. Tanya D is a recovery coach, meditation instructor, and energy healer with over a decade of sobriety. After struggling through the first year of sobriety, she discovered the power of holistic healing and emotional sobriety. Now she helps women move beyond survival mode to thriving in sobriety, guiding them towards calm, clarity, and lasting transformation. And that is certainly what I saw when I was with you in New Jersey for that beautiful retreat. So, welcome, Tanya. Thank you for being here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you both. My name is Tanya. She, her pronouns. I live in New Jersey on the traditional territory of the Lenape people, and I'm in recovery from alcohol use disorder, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, chronic pain, people pleasing, perfectionism, and domestic violence, and probably many, many other things too. And also Usui Reiki, Karuna Reiki Master. Um, let's see. Working on my pranic healing certification right now. A She Recovers coach as well. And a meditation instructor. Meditation is kind of where I got started with a lot of this stuff. So happy to be here.
Thank you. It's so good to have you here. I wonder if we might just begin by telling us a little bit, you telling us a little bit, whatever you're comfortable with, about your own Reiki and recovery journey.
Yeah, love to talk about that. So it's such an interesting thing. So I got sober in August of 2013. So I'm actually coming up on 12 years very soon on August 5th, if all goes well, which is super exciting because I was, as you probably understand, I was at the end of my rope. Drinking almost took me out. I was not in a very good place. Found recovery mainly through 12 step. That's how I came in. And then it was interesting. Had finished my 12 steps, I don't know, 2015-ish, something like that. And then things were just like, ugh, like there has to be something else. It can't just be going to meetings, not drinking. Like there has to be some other thing. And there was social stuff, sure, but like I just felt like I needed more. Um, Enter my chronic pain journey. So I had this really interesting thing happen. I was doing speaking solstice, I was doing 108 sun salutations at a local yoga place.
Oh,
Not
wow.
physically ready to do that, by the way. I should not had no business doing that. Um, but that's right when my chronic pain started. So I developed from my elbow all the way to my tip of my fingers on both hands. Horrible, just it was horrible. You don't know how many muscles you need to drive a car with your hands until you can't do it anymore. It was extremely painful. Um, and and I, I don't know. I just didn't know what else to do. So I had gone through I went to doctors. I did PT, I did injections, I did all this stuff and nothing was working. Somebody wanted to do exploratory surgery of my wrists, and I said, no, 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 we're not doing that. So I started looking to more holistic options. And that's where Reiki came in. I started seeing a Reiki practitioner who was local, who was also my yoga teacher at the time, and had a very profound session, my second session. I don't know what happened, but she looked at me at the end and she's like, you need to be a healer. Like, you need to do this. And I'm like, what? Who? Me? Oh. And I'd kind of been asking universe, like, what else is there? That was kind of start of it. So I think I took my first, then I had a few other sessions with her, a few other people, and I got a lot of relief from it. Also end up finding some chronic pain specialists, specifically the work of Dr. John Sarno and Nicole Sachs and those kind of people. But the Reiki was always there because the energy healing is really what got me ready to do this other stuff. I without it, I couldn't. I just couldn't. I don't know how else to say. Um, so I took a Reiki 1 class and I don't know, it was okay, like 2018, I think, something like that. And I was like, I don't know about this, but I had a really profound uh session when we were practicing. Um, I I've been trained traditional hand positions, primary chakras, like that's what I still do. Just very traditional, I guess. And I was practicing with my partner, who's the only guy in the class. I was like, I'll work with the guy, sure, whatever. And I had my hands like right in here, his heart chakra, and I felt this like immense sadness. And I knew nothing about this guy. Never met him before in my life. And then I also went to the solar plexus, and again, this like really profound sadness. Had no idea what was going on. So I finished the thing. A teacher comes over to us, like, how was it? I go, well, I was talking, I forget his name. I was talking to him, and he said he'd just been through this horrible breakup. And I felt something in those areas. And she looks at me and she goes, oh, wow. Okay. So I knew something was there. Um, and then the next year I met I found the International Center for Reiki Training because I was like, I want something a little bit more than just somebody at like a yoga place. No offense to anybody that does that. I don't know. So I found them, found a local master who taught me 1 and 2 in 2019. And then we were supposed to do our master training in March of 2020. And you can imagine what happened there.
Yep.
Yeah. So, we were trying to do stuff on Zoom and it wasn't working. So eventually in July of 2020, she's like, we'll just do it outside in my backyard. again, profound experiences. Like Jesus was coming to me, angels were coming to me. I was given some kind of key to unlock something. I don't know what that means. Really profound stuff was going on for me. And I just knew that this was my path. Like, this is what I need to do. Also was taking a meditation instructor training at the same time as well. But like, energy healing is always there. So even in my meditation classes, I incorporate the energy healing. I mean, not only one-on-one sessions, but I try to always incorporate it like, hey, people need it here. Let's bring it in. If anybody doesn't want it, it won't go to you. Because, sometimes people are like, what is that? It's weird. I don't know. And then they always feel better when they leave my class and they're like, oh, maybe there's something to this. So Reiki was always, always there. And I just had to bring it to the recovery community because everyone is just, as you both know, everyone's suffering. And anything I can do to try to alleviate somebody's suffering, if it just means I have to lay my hands on them for a little bit, then I can do that. So it helped me immensely, and I try to help other people with it as well.
So this was Holy Fire.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes, my lineage. Yay.
Yeah.
So I have a similar experience to you as that Andrea really is the first person that introduced me to Reiki. We practiced a little bit. We had Wednesday afternoon sessions. This is before I was attuned, and then I went looking for a teacher. And I didn't know anything about Reiki. I just happened to find teachers that were local, and they happened to be Holy Fire teachers. I could have, found anybody and that would have been the lineage I had gone through. But this was my path and I am grateful for it. But I went because I was having so much pain in my knees. I have severe arthritis in my knees. And I was like you, like, I don't, if I can avoid major surgery or whatever, if there's something else I could do, at least to support myself until that time, that would be great because I'm just in a lot of pain. And while Reiki hasn't like necessarily taken away arthritis, it's not, magic beans, right? It helps you. But kind of like what you were saying is like you can't really even articulate what happens, but something major happens in those attunements in those classes where you feel stuff and you see things and nobody else could tell you before you get there what you're going to see and feel, especially because it's going to be 100% individual, right? It's like nobody has the same experience. But, if there's anybody that doubts, like, that we're just making it up, like, please try it because it's so profound and it's just so undeniable that there is a shift in everything. And you said like Jesus and angels were coming to you. My spirit guides have been animals so far, and they come to me with different messages, and I've been just so grateful for that. So I love your story. Thanks for sharing about that. Can you share about any of like the more mystical side experiences and how that connects you back to how it supports your recovery?
Um, hmm, that's a great question. I forgot to mention that I did do my Karuna Reiki Master training in April of 2021. I actually did it online with Colleen Bernelli over in Portland. So very Colleen's like, love her. Also went through her, this kind of ties in. I went through her next step mentorship, where there's a lot of journey work. And I also took like a shamanism course. I've dabbled in all the things.
Colleen is very shamanic. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, love it. And I love it. I'm like, oh, I'm drawn to you for a reason. And that's kind of where like the journey work is really where a lot of that comes in for me, Lynn. When I'm literally just sitting there, like I have like this these like blackout like I don't know, eye coverings. It's not really the eye mask, it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And I put headphones on and I just kind of I have like this like drumming that I listen to, and it just I don't know. I just go somewhere else and I have really profound experiences with animals as well. Animals are big for me. Um, right now, it's interesting. In my Reiki 2 attunement, I had what I thought was the chronic pain individual entity leave me. Recently, that entity came back when I was healing somebody else, actually. And they were like, we're back. We're helping you now. And it's some like Native American guy. And then my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who passed away when I was 2, she's one of my other guides as well. And I'm pretty sure I get my gifts from her. I've had very profound experiences with her coming in, visions and things like that. And I don't ignore any of that stuff. People may think it's woo and whatever. And you know what? I need all the help I can get in this world. So if others, entities want to come in and good entities want to come in and help me and give me things to see and think and ideas, and I'm open to all of it because I need all the help I can get because being a human being in this world is very difficult, and I'll take any assistance I can possibly get.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I think that, for some people, so I've had an experience that you're reminding me of where I went to a local yoga studio where I did a communal Reiki practice. I was just a participant, I wasn't running it. And the facilitator was a Reiki master, and it was really amazing. Again, I went with my mom. She has taken Lynn's class. Is really interested in Reiki. And we all had our hands on each person that wanted to. And the Reiki master, the facilitator, afterwards, she shared some impressions that came through for her. Um, I think a lot of people think that Reiki is the same as being a medium or a psychic, right? That's not true for everyone. They're very separate. But what I hear you saying, in my mind, they're very separate, right? Like the system of Reiki that was developed by Usui
Yeah.
is very different from some of the healing modalities that we're talking about. But what I love is you're saying you're using a system that's unique to you, right? Your foundation was Reiki, and so many similarities, right? Lynn, the way that you found your way to Reiki, you were searching. Tanya, you were searching because you had this physical ailment that was really, it was affecting your quality of life. And Reiki was so helpful for that. But then you both, it sounds like, had really profound experiences in your attunements. And so I think that it's interesting. We have to, just like recovery, we have to forge our own path. And so for me, I have recently, because I do love the woo-woo, I have recently started calling on my ancestors and any spirit guides that I may have. And a while ago, that would have felt really uncomfortable because of my religious upbringing, right? Like acknowledging that religion and spirituality are two very different things, and Reiki is not a religion. But for me, I think that calling on that wisdom and being mindful of whatever comes up, those messages are really powerful, right? So I guess my next question is a question that I often like to ask is, what would you say to someone who is new to Reiki or new to their healing journey? Maybe it's recovery, or maybe it's, maybe they don't identify as in recovery, but maybe they are looking for something for physical or emotional healing. What advice would you give to someone new to this?
As you were asking me that, Andrea, like what was coming up was something I heard in 12 step was trust the process. So, I mean, it's a process, and everybody's healing journey is so different. Everybody comes to a healing journey with something different. So it's not gonna the journey's never gonna be the same for any two people. But just whatever process is calling you and works for you, and maybe you're combining many different things, like I think you heard me say, like many, many things. I mean, I am pain free today. I do not have this condition anymore. I've been pain free for a number of years. And it's a I mean, Reiki paved the way, for sure. And if I didn't have that kind of support, in energetic support, I think we forget about energetic support. Think about like people like conversations like this, and the therapists and the doctors and but what about and maybe God and angels, whatever, your spiritual support, but there's also that energy in the world too, and I need support there. I never thought about this. And so I'll let everyone who's listening to this know too. So my day job, I'm an environmental consultant. I'm a scientist, right? So you have to prove this works to me, you know? And it's funny. I had like those profound experiences, and then my friend is always, she's so funny. She's like, this is how I describe energy to people. She said, you know how when you rub a balloon on your sweater and you get that charge? Well, that's energy. It's real. You could touch it. You could feel it. So why can't we transfer that, like in whatever way that you're working on it and doing it? So, yeah, so I need to think about my energetic healing too, which, that, when I get away from that, there's always trouble for sure.
think that I want to add, like, because I was thinking when you were asking her that question, for me, well, I'm not pain free, but I'm so glad that you are. Tanya, that's amazing. Still hoping I'm not. But what Reiki gave to me, and this is what I would say to someone new, is it gave me the ability to tolerate the pain, to get through every day. And it's a tool that I can turn to when I'm not feeling well instead of the liquid anesthetic that I used to, you know, drink. Right. So, for me, the experience of all of the support and feeling better emotionally, feeling better physically, feeling relaxed, feeling grounded. I think that's what probably just feeling grounded and rooted in myself, in my core is what's best about Reiki to help me to heal because all of the maybe the inflammation that's going on, like all of that kind of settles so that I can get through the day. Right. It's not that it all goes away necessarily because I don't want to overpromise, but
Yeah.
what I can promise is if you are feeling relaxed and rooted and grounded, you'll be able to tolerate it and get to the things that are important to you. Does that sound right to you both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that um so for me in my recovery, the thing that felt like it was really missing when I was working more on emotional sobriety, which I hope that we can talk about that next. Um the thing that felt to me that was missing was being in my body. And I grew up very connected to my body. I was a dancer. And so I have a lot of really positive and a lot of really negative things came out of that. Right. And so I think in my healing, a lot of it was behaviors, right? So with 12 steps, it's like don't drink, go to a meeting, right? Stay connected. So I was taking actions that were positively impacting my mood and my functioning, all kinds of things. And I was doing a lot of healthy things for myself in terms of changing my habits. But the thing that was missing was feeling um, embodied. And so Reiki felt like a safe way for me to kind of come back to my body because, you know, um, laying hands has for, you know, generations and generations and generations been a way of healing, right? Like even the way that we like when my kid scrapes his knee, like I want to put my hand there to comfort him, and to initiate that healing process. And so um just like Lynn said, being still, feeling grounded and more relaxed so that, my nervous system is more regulated. Just being able to use Reiki as a way to heal myself, I think that that has had a huge impact on my recovery and really the way that I look at healing day to day now. Um, what does your recovery look like these days? Tell me about emotional sobriety and what that means for you, Tanya.
Yeah. I love that term. And I pretty sure it was Bill Wilson in AA that did coin that term. So if anyone Googles that, that's what will probably come up. Um, and that was, I think that's kind of where I was lacking in that period of time when all that pain was happening and all this other stuff. They call them emotional bottoms. I don't know about that word. Um, but I knew that I needed to have some sort of way to regulate my emotions because I don't know about you both, but I drank because I didn't want to feel anything. And when you do that long enough, you don't know how to feel things when you stop using the substance. So, um, I had to go through a whole process because I remember people asking me like, "How are you?" And I go, "I'm fine." They're like, "No, no, 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 no. How are you?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?" I had no language for what I was feeling. Nothing. Like I couldn't even tell you if I was happy, sad, mad, whatever. I just had these things come up and I didn't have words. There wasn't a lot of words when I was growing up. There wasn't a lot of talking about that. You don't talk about that stuff. So so emotional sobriety was a interesting when I first heard about it. Um, and I think now that I've done a lot of work on identifying how I feel and putting words to things and making it make sense for me too, because it's the word for the thing doesn't, I need it to kind of make sense. Because again, that's science. I got to prove it. It's got to make sense. Logic thing. Which is always in a competition with the woo. So I have to kind of like make that work.
Mhm.
Um, but I know for me, when I'm not in quote unquote emotional sobriety, I am a very angry individual. I am not grounded at all, like we were just talking about. I am can be very erratic and just start to spew stuff out and say things I don't mean and all kinds of stuff like that. I was a very, very angry drunk. You did not want to cross my path when I was in that state. It was bad. Uh, like towards the end of my drinking, nobody wanted to be around me. I had like nobody. I mean, my husband was about to leave. I was going to lose everything. And if I didn't get sober, I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now because that's where I was at. Um, so for you mentioned behavior before, Andrea, and it's like I think about where I was and if I feel myself getting to back there, that's it's kind of like a back life kind of thing. It's like a here and then because you both know, like when you're in recovery, there's like you before, then there's that you when you're first getting in it, and then there's like the you after, which is the I want to keep in the after.
Totally different people, three
Yeah,
different people. Mhm.
yes. Like I feel like a totally different individual. So when I'm slipping back to that old way, that's when I know something's not going on right with my emotional sobriety. Again, that erratic behavior, all that kind of stuff. And for me, can also be very physical. Like my pain will sometimes flare up. I'm not sleeping, that I'm not eating, that it's like that basic stuff I'm not doing. I'm not moving my body. I'm not doing all that kind of stuff. And then I'm not connecting with people. I'm just I'm an isolator, total isolator. I can do that in a heartbeat. Uh, and it's not good for me either. Um, as introverted as I am, I do need people. I need to recognize that. So all those kind of things, they come up and I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. And that's the beauty of recovery because we have that beautiful pause button. We can push it and we can take a step back and go, okay, what's going on here? I'm noticing all of these things and they're not good. And I need to do something to change this because we all know what happens if I don't do something to change this. And I don't want to go back all the way to that person. So,
What do you do to like when you catch that? What's your next step?
um, it's interesting. Normally, when I'm in that place, I'm not doing myself Reiki every day.
Mhm.
I'm not doing my meditation every day in my journal practice that I do my other spiritual practices. So I'm not connecting with spirit. Not moving. I'm not. So it's like, okay, Tanya,
Mhm.
what can we do to get ourselves back to that place? Okay, maybe I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier today, right? Make sure you eat something, right? Setting an alarm on this little thing I carry everywhere, eat something. Um,
Yeah.
take a drink of water, have water with you, take a drink of water, um, basic stuff like that. And then I'll get back to, then I'll kind of, I'm thinking like the Maslow's hierarchy. I'm kind of like, okay, take the next step. Like, okay, what do I got to do to, maybe I got to talk to people more. Maybe I need to just be around people. Maybe I got to stop the isolation. I got to get out. Maybe I'm just walking down the street and I see others and that's enough. Something like that. And then I start to get more into like, okay, how's my meditation? How's my self Reiki? How am I connecting? And then again, connecting with spirit. So it's when I'm really in a spot, it's really because I've just stopped doing those practices for whatever reason. I mean, maybe I was just sick for 2 weeks. I don't know. Maybe I was, just off my game for some lifey thing was happening. Could very well be that.
Mhm.
But I've noticed that when the lifey things happen, I need to double down on this stuff. And I've had times when I haven't. So I have, again, I'm almost 12 years in here. So, I've had a few bumps along the road to know that I need to keep up with these practices that I put in place to support my recovery. I'm not going to have it much longer if I don't. So it's kind of like that big pause and kind of then going through that. Okay, what am I not doing right now?
Yeah. That really resonates for me. I feel like a lot of times, if I have a client come to me for counseling or coaching and we're going to work on, coping with a loss or we're going to work on coping with an illness. A lot of times, you know, looking at that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like we need to build that foundation, we need to stabilize, we need to go back to basics. And so we're talking about sleeping and eating and socializing and, moving and resting. And it's like, why, I came here for this one thing and now we're talking about, this other thing, but it's so true. I think that a piece of that higher level, like once you've maintained stability for some time, that higher level recovery or self actualization is being able to do the meditation, being able to do the self Reiki, being able to do those spiritual practices that help you to feel more authentically yourself. And for me, I think the practice of Reiki, like I talked about, just placing hands, has been so helpful in my own mind, body, spirit, heart healing. But I think that the Reiki precepts have been really
Mm.
like guideposts for me. And so I wonder, do you um, have any practices around the precepts in your life?
It's funny, I have a healing office and the precepts are definitely on the, on the wall there. So just for today. Um, And what's funny is I used to have them memorized, and you think I would just know them off the top of my head. So you both may have to remind me. But so just for today, not be angry. That's the
Yeah.
first one, right? Um, so huh, as a person who grew up in New Jersey, a lot of y'all know about the Jersey Hello, which is one of your fingers on your hands. Um, and there's a lot of angry people around here. And another way I know that my emotional sobriety is in check is I'm not, my road rage is very, very low. Driving around New Jersey, you definitely can encounter a lot of angry individuals. So the more I find myself saying, oh, that person's just having a bad day. Let me just bless them, send them a little energy. Okay. Um, and kind of go about my day. That always helps. It always helps with any type of anger when I'm just kind of I see someone else going through something, or maybe I'm just feeling they are, and I just kind of send them a little bit of healing, whatever that may be. Um, and I'm blanking on the next ones. So you may have both
I'm
have
gonna
to
say
remind
it
me.
for you. Yes.
Thank you.
There's so many different versions, right? But
Yeah.
just for today, I will not be angry. I will not worry. I will be grateful. I will be honest. I'll be kind to every living thing. And you just reminded me I was driving in New Jersey yesterday because the Jersey Shore is the beach for me. I don't know that Boston and Jersey are that different. For those that don't know or haven't figured it out, I grew up in Boston. And so that is the Philadelphia beach. And my kids um, always kind of tease me. They say, I don't have road rage. I'm just a little angry, And I think that how I deal with those minor annoyances, or, they can be much more than minor annoyances, is an indication on how I'm doing in terms of my emotional sobriety or my spiritual wellness, right? And so I think that I identified a lot with the things that you shared, Tanya, about being angry when using substances or not necessarily while using them, but just when I was in my active addiction, and feeling like I can process anger in healthy ways now, and that doesn't define me. And so I love that, that it's like a barometer, right? Like how we're able to manage those everyday things is an indication of what we need to do to take care of ourselves, right? Like maybe I do need to do some more meditation or self Reiki, or maybe I just need to eat a snack. So, yeah,
Or take a nap, or just
thank you for that.
maybe call somebody. I don't know.
Yes.
Fear is like my big one. That's like my nemesis. So I recently learned, I read somewhere that you can't be in a place of fear and a place of gratitude at the same time. And I think that Mikao Sui was very brilliant to pair those in the precepts, right? So my practice now, when I start worrying and getting like all of the what ifs and what if this happens, and like, oh my gosh, I can escalate them so quickly to such extremes. But I go back and my practice is like, using the hands and lying down and kind of doing some self Reiki, but then counting the things that I'm grateful for, which could be just as simple as like my home, my job, indoor plumbing, like the ceiling fan that works. Like it's, like I can list hundreds now. And by the time I get through a whole bunch of things I'm grateful for, I'm either asleep or I'm completely out of the fear place, right? So that's for me, like I love the precepts because they just are, they're so simple but so profound and so life-changing. And it's definitely been, yeah, part of my recovery path. Speaking of your recovery path and how you met, or how Andrea met you, can you tell us a little bit about your offerings and things that you're doing, like where people can find you, anything you have coming up?
Oh yes. So my business is called The Peace We Crave. So
I love
Google
that.
that, you will find me.
Love that.
And how that came about is there's a story. I always have a story. Is I was doing manifesting work with one of my friends. Anna Dea Judith has Creating on Purpose, and we were going through the manifestation process. And I wanted to manifest a business, some type of recovery business, and I didn't know what the heck it was going to be. But again, here's spirit coming in, like, you're going to do this thing. Um, and I was in young people's in AA, and they were talking about how it's the fellowship we crave. And I'm like, no, 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 I need peace. Like, I need peace in my life, y'all. Like,
Mhm.
I like people, that's great, but I need peace. So the peace we crave. So so that's me. The retreat that Andrew was talking about, I am having another one next April. So save the date. Hopefully I have some dates soon. And it's a meditation for sobriety retreat. So we go through meditation. I do bring some elements of 12 step in as well. And then there's Reiki sessions for people, and just sessions with me, things like that. I also offer one-on-one sessions, my thriving and sobriety program. I also help people in chronic pain recovery as well. That's a little bit harder to get people in, but it's there. And let's see. Wow. I have an in-person She Recovers sharing circle the first Sunday of the month in New Jersey in Pennington, 10:30 in the morning. Our next one, we're going to go to brunch after, so I'd love to see Andrea maybe. Hopefully you can be there. And you'll see me on online She Recovers gatherings as well. I'm always hosting at least once, maybe every twice a week, something like that. I'm always doing that. And let's let's see. I also have a weekly Women's Way Through the 12 Steps group. So that book by Stephanie Covington. I go through the 30th edition, anniversary edition, which is a nice. The language was updated, so it's a cool book. I really like it. And again, I love all those elements of 12 steps, much like the Reiki, the precepts and the 12 steps. Like that's applicable to not just recovery. It's everybody. Everybody needs this stuff. And that's another thing I loved about Reiki when I first saw those. I was like, wow, it just so aligns. Like, look at this. I'm on the right path here. And yeah, and I think we've been talking about emotional sobriety a little bit. So I do have a free checklist that I put together. So if you want to know if your emotional sobriety is good, I got a little checklist for you, and you can kind of check off and see where you are. So hopefully, we can put that in the notes or the
Yes.
listing or whatever the heck we do for this show.
Yes, we will link it below. I'm going to point down, even though
Perfect.
there's nothing there. It's the the internet, but yes, it'll be in the YouTube link. Thank you for sharing all that. It sounds like you have a lot going, plus your other job. How do you get it all done?
It's a power greater than myself. It's
I
not
love
me
that.
sometimes.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. There are so many synchronicities, I think, with 12 step. I mean, just I might have mentioned this before on the show, but definitely in meetings. When I first went to AA meetings, they would have what they called the green card, and it was just it had this beautiful um, writing about just for today, right? Like, and there's just so many similarities. Like when Lynn was talking about her gratitude practice, I know that that's something in 12-step programs that is really encourage that people develop a gratitude practice. And so I love the way you've been able to, and I saw this in person at the retreat that I went to with you, the way that you've been able to use both the foundation of 12 step and the foundation of the system of Reiki and to offer to people, but women especially, a way to really find more healing and to heal themselves. So yes, Tanya has so many offerings. I am in wonder and awe of all the content you put out there. You can go check out Tanya on Insight Timer, and we'll link all of the things that you have available. And I would love to come see you in person this summer, and definitely would love to come back to your retreat next year. So this has been such a wonderful conversation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you both for having me.
And speaking of retreats, I'm going to throw in a little teaser here. Andrea and I are working on our own retreat, and we think so. It's not like we're still looking, but we know it'll be 2026, and we're thinking Joshua Tree. So if you could come, that would be great. We would love to have you. But yeah, we will let all of our followers know it's something that we're working on. We're thinking Reiki art and recovery, something along those lines. Something for everyone, some yoga, some good food, some like outside hiking, and just kind of like stargazing. That's why I want to go to Joshua Tree. So that's something that we have going on. Any last thoughts? Any last words? I wondered, do you have a favorite Reiki book that you could recommend? Any kind of reading? We should ask this because I'm so big on books. Like, it doesn't have to be Reiki. Favorite recovery book? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, no, there's I'm trying to think. There's so many.
You just mentioned a really great book, The Women's Way Through the 12 Steps, the group that you have. I read that very early on in my recovery, and it was so helpful because, we could have a whole podcast about the um, pros and cons of AA, but that really helped me to feel like, wow, other women are doing this, and I am not alone. And so I think that, that's an incredible offering that you have based on a book that's been really impactful for many, many women over how many years? 30 years?
Yeah, so 30th, I think it came out last year was 30 years, so just can't believe that. But I was looking at my phone because I have everything digital, because why wouldn't I? And there's a meditation, there's Hazelton. I love Hazelton books. They're like my fave. And there's a women's spirit meditation book I used to read all the time. I think it incorporates a lot of recovery stuff in it. It's not just AA. So it's any of those type of meditation books, anything I can start my day with like that is just has been absolutely critical for me. So I don't have a single favorite, but I also have Keep It Simple on here. So all those kind of books I think are just they're just so wonderful and they just help me start my day so nice, which I need that. I need a good start.
Tanya, thank you so much. It's been so fun getting to know you.
Yeah.
I really hope I'm over here in California. It's, early, and thank you guys for staying up late over there to make this happen today. But I really hope we get to meet in person. I would love to give you a great big hug.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to close with so I did this funny thing today. I wanted something to, be solstice inspired. Um and I don't use Chat GPT that often. I saw Terminator. Ooh, yay, but but I also find that it's really, really, really good. So it's super tempting. So I said, to Chat GPT world, create something that's Shinto inspired summer solstice, because the root of, Reiki is from the Shinto and Buddhist spiritual traditions. And this is what it spit out. And I'm telling you, I think it's so beautiful that I wanted to read it. And Amaterasu is the sun goddess in the Shinto mythology, who I have a particular affinity for. So it says, on this sacred day of the solstice, when the sun stands still in the sky, we honor the turning of the wheel, the balance of light and shadow. O Amaterasu Omikami, radiant goddess of the sun, shine your light upon our hearts, as you shine upon the mountains, forest, and sea. May your warmth illuminate our spirits and guide us with wisdom and grace. We bow to the kami of the land, guardians of stream and stone, of tree and cloud, who dwell in all things seen and unseen. With gratitude, we offer our prayers and presence. As the solstice marks change, may we cleanse ourselves of the past through water, breath, and intention, and step forward with pure hearts. Let peace dwell within our homes. Let harmony flow between all beings. Let nature and humanity move as one. Bless this season of renewal, and may the divine light return again and again. May the blessings of the kami be with us always.
Mm, beautiful, beautiful. I think you're both rays of sunshine.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, whoever's watching. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you, Tanya, for being our guest and marking our 1 year anniversary. It's really been fun talking to you tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanya. I'll see you soon.